Katsarelis of my staff be granted floor privileges for the duration of today's proceedings.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to respectfully request bipartisan support from my Senate colleagues on the Cornyn-Casey Amendment number 931, the Outbound Investment Transparency Act. This amendment would establish a program to provide visibility on U.S. investments going to the People's Republic of China in critical supply chains and technology sectors. Here's what the amendment does. The proposed amendment would establish a program led by the Department of Treasury in coordination with the Department of Commerce that would require U.S. companies planning to invest in national security technology sectors in countries of concern to notify the Department of the Treasury before those deals are completed. This proposal has been vetted by industry, by the Senate Banking Committee, and by the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission. That's the basis or the fundamentals of this amendment. We all know that this year's defense bill that we're going to be voting on today, as we started last week, tackles the toughest national security issues that face our nation. And technological competition with the People's Republic of China is certainly at the top of that list. Right now, we're in competition with a communist government that doesn't play by the rules. The Chinese government employs economic espionage, and it exploits the United States' open research and innovation to build up its own capabilities. U.S. companies are sending capital, intellectual property, and innovation to the People's Republic of China, fueling its advance in dual-use critical technological areas. A recent report by the National Security Advisor in the last administration, General H.R. McMaster, states as follows, quote, "Outbound investment harms U.S. strategic interests when it facilitates inappropriate technology transfer, when it allows for underinvestment in domestic capabilities or undermines the long-term competitiveness of American firms," unquote. Testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee, a committee on which both Senator Cornyn and I sit, noted that in 2020, U.S. companies' capital investment in China totaled over $200 billion just in artificial intelligence, so-called AI. $200 billion just in AI. Over $21 billion in semiconductors, and over $50 billion in biotechnology. These numbers don't even account for the transfer of operational know-how and intellectual property. You can't even quantify those values. We need a targeted response to these risks to our national security. Again, this amendment would require U.S. companies planning to invest in national security technology sectors in countries of concern to notify the Department of Treasury before those deals are completed. We need this type of outbound investment notification to understand just how much critical technology we're transferring to our adversaries via these capital flows. With this information in hand, we can begin to take control of our own economic future. We can, by utilizing this information, we can make determinations as to how to protect U.S. talent, U.S. technology, and U.S. supply chains. This issue, and this is true of a lot of the defense bill, this issue transcends party lines and gets to the heart of one of the most significant national security threats that we must confront. So I want to thank Senator Cornyn for his strong bipartisan work on this issue over the last 3 years. I urge my colleagues to vote in favor of Amendment 931. Mr. President, I would yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.